Today is Saturday, July 4th, 2026. All praises to the Most High God, Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahushai, forever and ever, so let it be true. Love, honor, and respect to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, and to His Holy Son, who died for the 12 tribes of Israel, Matthew chapter 15, verse 24, Matthew chapter 10, verse 5 and 6. And double honors to the apostles of GMS, and to the 4 major prophets, to the 12 minor prophets, and to the hopeful elect, the brothers, the Akim, the 144,000 men who are preaching the word of God on the 4 corners of this earth, risking their lives day in and day out. And shalom, peace and blessings to my brothers, sisters, and children who are watching this video. We're on another lesson. Wanted to make sure the video was still going. So the title of this, thinking about what the title of this video is going to be, it's probably going to be, this will be the last Happy 4th. Next year this time, this country will be in mourning for their sons and daughters. Because that war, that draft is coming, okay? This war is on, all right. Don't worry about that 60-day thing that they that's just nothing but that's just a pause, all right, a timeout. The war is on, okay, and they're still going back and forth, and it's not even really a peace. There's really no peace plan or nothing. It's just a 60-day pause. Satellite images show the United States going back and forth with our military planes, bringing all our assets from Germany. And we have U.S. bases throughout Europe, but our main base is in Germany. They're bringing the tanks, they're bringing in everything that they can bring in. More ships are coming in. The war's on, all right? There's not going to be no peace. They have to lie to the American people because there would be a great panic. So they have to lie every day through CNBC, CNN, Fox News, ABC, CBS. They have to lie to the public because it would cause a great panic. So they'll lie to you. Okay? But the war is on, and we're going to finish off Isaiah chapter 13. So in Isaiah 13, verse 6 through 13, Isaiah announces the arrival of the day of the Lord, a time of cosmic terror and fierce, cruel anger. It is characterized by physical panic, limp hands, melting hearts, the darkening of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the shaking of the heavens and earth. And the Most High Yahweh intends to punish the wicked and put an end to the arrogance and the pride of America and the world. Okay? The people here are filled with pride, arrogance. Look at, since they, and this land is filled with perverts, all right? The people who rule over you are perverts. Psychopaths, sociopaths, okay? Since they put out those Epstein files, no one's been arrested. Do you know how many thousands and thousands of hours of videos they have of torturing children who have been missing? It shows them actually having, they have them. They torture, then they kill these people, and then they cook them and eat them. It has them on tables like if they're like having a Thanksgiving dinner. Nobody's been arrested, and no one's going to be arrested. Because the people who rule over this land are evil. This is the wicked. And they're all over the holy book about the wicked. These Amalekites and Esau. Those are the wicked. Even in the nations, those nations are wicked too. But they're on a whole new level. The Amalekites, those Zionists, and Esau. There's not going to be no arrest. Okay? They're going to face their judgment in our kingdom. Okay? And this is their kingdom, so they could do whatever they want. All right? So that's what's happening. All right? And people, like I said, they're slowly waking up, but it's too late. Like with all these data centers, that ties in with the RFID chip. They start tracking everything. You gotta remember, there's over 350 million Americans. That's a lot of people. And then you go worldwide, you got close to, they're saying about 9 billion people. All right, so to start, and they have to, you can't take everybody out with one shot. It comes in waves, just like this war. Okay? When they do the draft, they're gonna draft 18, I believe, to 22. Okay, once they get them young men and women into the war, then they're gonna go from 23 to 29. That'll be the second wave. The third wave will be 30 to 36. Then it will go to fourth wave. They're gonna draft all the way to 50. All right. And when we start taking real heavy losses, who knows? They might start taking 16-year-old kids, 14-year-old kids. It happened in Germany. They had a youth. There was kids that were 10 years old, 11 and 12 years old, fighting in the war in World War II. All right? So when he says right here, Isaiah announces, and that was one of the great 4 major prophets, the arrival of the day of the Lord, a time of cosmic terror, fierce, cruel anger. It is characterized by physical panic. The people of the land, physical panic, high anxiety, limp. The hands will be limp. People will be walking pale. I can see people, they've already lost their minds right now. Okay? And I was just recently in a car accident. Another one. It's like some people just come out of nowhere and hit me. I wasn't even going to bring this out. That happened last Tuesday. I'm driving, and a lady comes out of an alley, and she just darts and hits me right on the side. And I seen that she was out of her, like there was so much on her mind. You know, I pulled to the side, and she got out of the car. I couldn't even open my door. She hit right where my door and my mirror is right here on the side. So my door was like, I had a hard time getting up. I had to really push it open to get out. But the girl was, she gave me her license. She gave me all her information, her insurance, and I believe she was like, she's young 20s. So I think she was born like in 2002. She was young. She said she was in a rush to go to work downtown. And yeah, it was crazy because I seen something come from the left. I would say she was probably going on. It wasn't a major hit, but she was probably going 20 miles an hour from the alley to where when I was driving, she just hit me. And she kept on going a little bit for maybe about 7 yards. Then she went to a complete stop. But when the police came, they gave her the ticket. And but it looked like she was this is what's happening. You could see it in the eyes. You could see that she was crying and everything. Said this was her first accident, and I could see it. I'm on the roads every day, but God always protects me. But like every 6 months or a year, I'm getting hit left and right. Because last year I got hit. I was crossing. My son was driving. I got hit on the right-hand side. It's just like crazy. I got hit from behind a couple years back. It's nuts. But people are going through stop signs. They're not. They're under so much stress. They don't even know where they're going. People are just jump in their cars and they're just going in circles. And that's what it's talking about. The limp hands. People are going to be numb. They're walking outside numb. That's happening now. Once this war escalates and you start seeing your soldiers coming back in body bags, all right, and coffins with the American flag, people hands will be limp. That's what it's talking about right there. And their hearts will melt. And in the holy book, it talks about men having strokes and heart attacks, because now they know that the holy book was true from the beginning. We're at the end of this age, and that's why people are going to have strokes, heart attacks, stress. Remember, stress will kill you faster than anything. Stress will kill you from a person that smokes a carton a day, or someone that eats deep fried food. They're gonna croak, but it takes time before your body just goes out. Stress is on a whole new level. You could be someone that exercises every day, eats good, but stress will kill you. The stress in the body will cause you to have a heart attack, a stroke at 3 a.m. That's where most people die, is in the middle of the night. Or you could be at work. The stress, what it causes. I'll have to do a whole video on stress, and that's what's going to happen. That's why you need to focus. Your mind needs to be with the Word of God, reading the Word, being at peace, coming out, and it's free. Coming to the parks. I love coming to the parks, sitting by the trees. The trees will heal you. Reading the book, reading the Word will heal you. That's the number one, is the Word of God. But be around nature. Okay. Tomorrow I'll probably come out with a video. We're going to talk about the fires over there that's happening in southern Colorado. It's called the Aspen fires. I'll break that down. I was just there 2 months ago looking for houses in that area, because I was looking for a house with 5-10 acres where I can have animals and be not too far from the city, which is only about an hour and 45 minutes where that major fire is happening. Zero containment. All right. The fires, the heat, everything is going to get worse. Or it's going to get drier, it's going to get hotter, and fires this world is going to be purged with fire. Remember that. There's still going to be floods, but the earth, it's just going to be more fires. But there's going to be areas where there's going to be a lot of rain, and there's going to be floods. And it's happening in the south. It's happening a lot out in the southeast part of the United States. The west coast, southwest, it's dry, it's hot. When they say it's 88 degrees here in Denver, it feels like it's 101 degrees. So I notice the heat, the sun is hotter, okay? Let's go to the darkening of the sun, the moon, the stars, and the shaking of the heavens and the earth. That's the missiles. That's coming in the second quarter of World War III. We've been in World War III since 2014. We could actually go back since the 90s when we started building, the United States started building U.S. bases around Iran. All right, that was the beginning of World War III. But actually, we're in that time. It's an emergency. All right. World War III really started kicking off in 2004 with the proxy wars, with the mercenaries in Ukraine killing Russians. We've been killing each other, all right? And Vladimir Putin, he's the king of the North. He's a master chess player in war. He's a man of war. Not like these men here, all right? They're politicians here, they're weak. They've never been in a fist fight. They're the people who rule America that you see on TV, these men are weak, okay? Now we have special forces, we have generals, but the men, these generals, they fired them. They fired a couple dozen of them. I'm gonna have to do a video on them, all the men that they fired. These were men that had brains, common sense, and told the president, told the higher ups, this war ain't gonna, this is not gonna end well for us. All right, but like I said, the Rothschilds, the DuPonts, the Rockefellers, they don't care if the whole world goes up in flames. They want the whole world in their hands. They have that God complex. They want the whole world in their hands, and we could go into that. That's another. I'll do a video. I've done a past video on it. It talks about there's a chapter in the Holy Book that talks about the Rothschild family. All right. Talks about the men and how the world is going to be engulfed in fire. And it's talking about nuclear war. Nuclear war is in the Holy Book, but you need a prophet to break it down. It's all over the Bible. It's all over the Holy Book. Nuclear war. So when it says right here, the sun, the moon, the stars, and the shaking of the heavens, that's when those missiles hit. And it's going to happen. And it's going to happen in the Middle East. All right. And we might get hit. A couple cities here might get hit in the United States. This is going to be the shock and awe. All right. And that'll be entering the second quarter. That's how I like to explain it, like a football game. You have the first quarter, we're about to go in the second quarter. And it's going to be, several cities are going to get hit. And it looks like they're going to hit in Tehran, somewhere in Iran, and even Tel Aviv. One of them are going to get hit. Okay? There's going to be an exchange. And we might see France get hit. We might see somewhere in Europe get hit by Russia, because that war is escalating in Ukraine. All right, was just reports recently that the United States warned Poland that Russia might start their invasion of Eastern Europe, and then they're going to go into Western Europe. This war is on all fronts. You got the Ukraine, you have the Middle East, and you have Taiwan. Three major conflicts that are happening on this earth. That's why I said this could be the last good fourth, because the Americans are going to be out there running around, drinking, the fireworks. But next year, these men, I believe, will be drafted. Within the next few months, the draft is coming. Okay, so that's what he's talking about, that nuclear war. That's nuclear war right there. The darkening of the sun. And it's been very, very hazy. If you look south from here, you could see it's real hazy here in Colorado because of that fire, the Aspen fire. Okay, and remember, that fire is not in the city of Aspen. That's west of Denver, Aspen. This is southern Colorado. It's in the Pueblo County. It's 2 hours, hour and 45 minutes drive. Southern Colorado, okay? Why they call it the Aspen Fire? Because there's thousands, hundreds of thousands of aspen trees, willows that are in those mountains. It's a beautiful part of the country of Colorado. Okay. Now you have aspens west, and you're talking about multi-million-dollar homes up there. Okay. I believe there's a home, and we'll break that down tomorrow. The most expensive home is in Aspen, Colorado. I believe it's over $300 million. We'll break that down tomorrow. But in southern Colorado, in this area where I was looking for some property just 2 months ago, I was up deep into those mountains in Pueblo County. You can find houses there for $300,000, $400, $500, $600, and they do have some houses that are 1.5. That's the most reasonable prices in Colorado is south from here, Colorado Springs and Pueblo. So if you have here in Denver, there's houses here. If there's a house here for $800,000, say it's a 4-bedroom, 3-bath for $800,000 here. That same house in Colorado Springs would be for, I would say, $650,000. And then if you go an hour from Colorado Springs, or 45 minutes, is Pueblo County. But there's about 200, I would say all that whole area there's probably about 250,000 people. Okay. That same house here in Denver, that's $850,000, Colorado Springs $650,000, you could buy it there. Same house for $450,000. That's the most reasonable real estate in the whole state of Colorado is south. And it's actually a beautiful part of the country. Like I said, them mountains where it's on fire right now, that drive I took up there was one of the most beautiful drives I've ever had. That's how there's beautiful aspen. That's why it's called the aspen fire. It's filled with aspen trees, and you have the pine trees and everything. But they're saying right now, as of last night, it was the 8th largest Colorado fire in history. This could be the biggest, because every day it's I think 15,000 acres a day, and there's zero containment. Okay, so this is going to be huge. I'll talk more about it tomorrow. But that darkening of the skies. Yesterday, when the sun went down, it was very orange and dark in Pueblo County. I was looking up the news. It said people were wearing masks. It's so dark with ash in the city of Pueblo that people are wearing masks. They're telling people to stay indoors. Colorado Springs is getting hit hard, but we're getting the fallout too. But when it's talking about the darkening of the sun, that's when those missiles hit. And when you have multiple cities that get hit, the dust particles are going to go up into the air. We're all going to witness this. And if you have breathing problems, you're going to have to stay in the house. It's going to be bad. Okay? The whole world's is going to get the effects of this. And then that's when they're going to push from that second quarter to third quarter is when they're going to there's going to be ruled lockdowns. There'll be ruled lockdowns. And then that's when the whore who sits on the beast is going to bring out the mark of the beast. That's the 666. All right, the devil's chip, and they're going to come down hard. During that time, after those cities get hit, there's going to be draconian laws. Look up draconian. These are going to be severe laws. Actually, when they start doing that draft, that's why I believe Donald Trump will bring out draconian laws. If men that try to run away from the draft, they might get life imprisonment. They set the rules. Remember that. Once martial law, all your paper, all that your constitution, all that, it's just nothing but a piece of paper. All right, that's nothing but a piece of paper. Just rip it, throw it in the trash. All right, they'll make their own rules at that time, and when they set the draconian laws, your head is gonna spin. All right, your head's gonna spin what they're gonna do. And even with these data centers, they're taking people's property away from people that live in the rural areas. That's where they're building these data centers, and they're taking their lands with no mercy. All right, and people could talk about the Constitution. That never helped the Native Americans. What they did to the Native Americans, and that's the tribe of Gad and Reuben here in America. Reuben is Jacob's first son, is Reuben, and then you had Gad here in the Americas, and they were removed from their territory, and they put them in the worst parts of the earth where nothing grows. All right, they put them in the most, they put them in places where they wanted them just to die a slow death, and they learned how to adapt in their environment. What they did to them, they're doing to you now. All right, they're going to take your guns. They're going to do. It's called house to house sweeping. They're going to do. It's like getting a broom and sweeping up in the neighborhood. In-house cleaning. That's how they're going to do it. They're going to do perimeters in all the cities, and they're going to go house to house, and they're going to be taking everything. Those Rothschilds want it all. They want to take your food. They're going to take your guns. They're going to take your ammo. They're going to try. People are going to fight back, and they know it. That's why I said there's going to be chaos in the streets. All right, and we're going to break that down. How they're going to send robots. All right, they already have these robots they're going to send in there. If you watch the end of the world movies, if you watch any of these end of the world movies, mostly nobody has guns. Because the gun is worthless without the ammo. Okay, rule number one. But remember, they're the most cunning of them all. So they're going to send robots. And these robots, the first ones that they're going to send in, remember, they're the most cunning. All right. But the prophets, they can't put a wool over our eyes. We know what they're going to do. So they're going to put decoys. They're going to put robots. They're just metal robots. They're going to roll into your neighborhoods. And then you're going to have a lot of people. They're going to grab their guns. And they're going to go out there. These robots are not even going to shoot back at you. They're just going to send these robots, these new age weapons, but it's not going to be no. It's not going to shoot at you or nothing. They're just going to roll these in so you can shoot at them, so you can run out of your ammo. You see, that's how dumb these people are here in America. They're going to see them, and you're going to have everybody grabbing their rifles and their handguns, and they're just going to shoot them. They're going to shoot a big piece of metal, some new age vehicle that they're going to send into your neighborhoods. You're going to shoot it, and you're going to run out of your ammo. Then they're going to send the real ones in, all right, to kill you. They're going to send the drones, set your house on fire. You know, they have drones that have flamethrowers on it. You see, the only ones that are going to be protected during this times are the men and women who serve the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, who have the name, the holy name of God. But like I said, they've been planning this for decades to purge the population. In their world, they only want about 33 million people on the earth. There's less than 100,000 of them. All right? But they could rule over those 33 million as slaves and get rid of the 9 billion people off the face of the earth, and they could have their heaven on earth, all right, where they control the remaining 33 million people with the devil's chip. But it's going to take time to break it down to 33 million. It's going to take probably 10 years of killing. That's their plan. That's their new world order. And if you hear Donald Trump, he talks about the new age, the new Greece, the Rome to come. Their heaven is to have total control of the planet Earth. And the remaining people that live, they're going to have like films of how it used to be. They want more open space. They don't want all these people running around. All right, they want their own little heaven on this earth. All right, but they're on the left-hand side. They're in wickedness. That's their new world order. But the Most High and His Son, they're gonna smash their plans. Their plans are not gonna. It's only gonna go so far, and that's when the Most High is gonna send His Son. And remember, the Most High controls right and left. Isaiah chapter 45, verse 7. This world is in wickedness. Just the other day, here in Denver, they had the fruit parade. The girls and the boys and the boys, all these people that are in collusion with wickedness. That's why this is happening. If you're sitting back saying, why is this happening? Because people reject the holy book. And when you reject the holy book, God's going to bring the hammer down on America and on the four corners of this earth. All right. That's why Valenzuela, I got to do a video on Valenzuela. Right? And they're part of the tribes. But their mind is carnal. They're in wickedness. They worship idols. God hates idols. This is a land, the tribes and the people, they worship idols. God is a jealous God. That's why God's bringing judgment. God's behind this, the Most High, and His name is Yahweh. When society becomes evil, you're going to pay the price. And America is going to pay the price. All right? and they're going to be in shock because they're the most spoiled, rotten. Now you've seen in Europe, France, I believe now they're saying 15 to 2,000 people have died throughout Europe. It could be even more. They're still counting the bodies. People died. 80% of Europeans don't have air conditioners. You know, they're more old school. They like to open their windows. You know, they have beautiful yards in Europe, in France, Spain, Portugal, Italy, England. Beautiful part of the world. But they're not into the air conditioners. They like to open their windows up, but it's been extremely hot. 105, 111 degrees, and they're finding people dead in their homes like an oven. Okay? Well, here in the United States, 80% of Americans, we're spoiled rotten. We have air conditioners. But there's going to be a time where the electricity, you know, there's Russia, Iran, they have where they can knock out satellites. Okay, when that happens, electricity things, the grid could go out, and you're going to find people like in Phoenix, Tucson, El Paso, San Antonio, Dallas, even Florida. People, they'll find them dead in their houses because it'll be like baking in an oven. Okay, that's why I love Colorado, because we have the 4 seasons here. All right, we have the seasons, and it's getting warmer here. Our falls now are beautiful. It's 70s and 80s throughout all the way until December. We don't even get much snow no more. It's mostly snowing in the mountains. If we get snow, it's like a couple inches, and it melts before the end of the day. But we have a lot of, Denver is considered a tree city. It's filled with trees. And we're at my property, we have a lot of trees, so it keeps the house cool. All right? But you don't want to be in the deserts out there, Phoenix, Las Vegas, those Palm Springs, them people are done. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. We're going to continue tomorrow. That one's going to be about an hour and a half video. We'll tie more with Isaiah and the fires that are coming and the war and the draft. Hope all you brothers and sisters were edified with this lesson. Most High willing, I'll be here tomorrow. Thank you for watching.